So this first sheet, if you could look at the first one that I gave you, is just a lot of vocabulary that we're going to be doing during unit 3. And we're just going to go through and talk about it. It's typed on there for you. I'm going to add like a couple things that you can write on there. But it is all typed up for you. You're welcome. All right. So a relation, this is short for relationship between two sets of information. Lots of times you'll see it as X comma Y. So that is what we call a point. So you can see it as points. It can also be written in a table. You can also have what's called a mapping, and I'm going to show you all these things in the notes. Or you could have a graph, which is your XY coordinate plane, and then you plot on the XY coordinate plane. So there's 4 ways you can express that. And again, in the notes, I'm going to show you all of that. A function is a very specific relation. Each X value has only one Y value. So what that means is your X values do not repeat. The X values don't repeat. It doesn't matter what the Y values do, but the X values don't repeat. So if you look at this one right here, out of 2 or 0, which one's the X number? 2, good. Out of 4 or 3, which one's the X number? 4. And then the other one, 3. Okay, X comes first, then Y. X comma Y. We have 2, 4, 3. Do you see how none of them repeat? Yep. Good. That's a function. Yay. Yay. Okay. Good. This should hopefully be reviewed, but this is all your vocabulary. Independent variable is what you plug in. Independent. That's X. That's the numbers we plug into the function. So when you look at something like this, f of 3 equals 7, 3 is the input. Dependent variable, that's the opposite. It's the output. It's Y. It's numbers you get out of a function. So if you have f of 3 equals 7, 7 is the output. Input, output. Independent, dependent. X, Y is what all that is. Domain and range, have you heard those words before? Okay, yeah. Domain is all of your X values or all the inputs. So if you look at this one, that's the 2, the 4, and the 3. But do you see how for domain, and we're going to write this in our notes here, do you see how it's written 2, 3, 4? You want to put them in numeric order. So like if you wrote 2, 4, 3, I wouldn't mark it wrong, but like technically it's supposed to be in numeric order. Range is all your Y values. Do you see how in this one, that's the 0, the 8, and the 5? But here we wrote 0, 5, 8. Like it's supposed to go in numeric order. Again, I wouldn't mark it like wrong, but it's supposed to go in order. Okay. And then lastly, our function notation. It's a way to represent a function using a letter. It's so you can tell the difference between them. Do you see how this one's F and this one's G and this one's H and this one's K? So they're not all called the same thing. It would be like having 4 children and naming them all Bob or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to give them different names. So they all have different letters. And the way we say this is F of X or G of X or H of X. That's how you say it out loud. Put this somewhere that you're not going to lose it. That's all our vocabulary for unit 3. It's like a little cheat sheet for what everything means. Okay. This is the actual notes that we're going to write stuff on, and we're going to be a little repetitive here and write out some of the things I just went over so that you're writing them in your own words. They've done studies on this. If you write stuff yourself, you are more likely to remember it versus just reading it, because writing uses a different part of your brain. You're being active instead of passive. So we are going to write some of these out. So for relation, it's short for relationship. Are you going to stop talking while I'm talking? That'd be great. Thanks. Between X and Y, the independent variable and the dependent variable. Just relationship between two things. That's what that means. Domain is all of your X values or the input. Range is all of your Y values or the output. As a heads up, in unit 3, we don't do a lot. Like the unit we just finished doing, you know how there were all these steps? Like add 2 to both sides, divide by 3. Like, you know how there was all that work? We don't actually do a whole lot. This is more like, bless you, about like vocabulary and the notation of how you write stuff. And then for a relation to be a function, it means x values don't repeat. I can't talk and spell at the same time. Your x values don't repeat. Y can do whatever it wants, but your x values don't repeat. So we're going to practice writing these all the different ways. And this is what I was talking about on the other sheet. Can you look? Because I'm going to point to this. These are points. This is a table. These circles, we're going to fill it in. It's what's called a mapping. And then we're going to do a graph to represent all of these. And then we'll come back and do the domain and range and is it a function? So when you go to take these points and put them in the table, literally, you are just copying them over. Please, no one misses this question, okay? Do you see how it's -3, 1? You're just going to put -3, 1 in your table. That's it. -2, 0, 1, 2, 3, -4, -3, 5. Hey, Miss Cole, it looks like you just rewrote all that stuff in a table. Yep, that's what I did. No one misses that question, okay? Literally all that you did. Now you might need to write kind of small to get all your numbers to fit into these circles for the mapping. So we have -3, 1. You put -3 in the first little bubble, 1 in the other bubble, and you draw a little arrow between them. Here's the only thing that sometimes people miss on this one. You don't repeat the numbers. So if they show up again, you don't write it again. You just draw another arrow. And it's going to happen here, so I'll show you what I mean. -2 goes to 0. 1 goes to 2. 3 goes to -4, just drawing an arrow between them. And then look at the last one. Do you see how we already have a -3 written in there? You see that? Don't write it again because it's already there. Just put the 5 over here and draw another arrow. So you don't write the number a second time. You just draw another arrow coming from it. So I just drew another, do you see it there? I just drew another arrow from the -3. Now we're going to put them on the graph and we need to review our quadrants. Which one is quadrant 1? And I'm looking for words like up, down, left, right. Like where is quadrant 1? Right. The top right, this is 1. And then which one's 2? You lost it. Top left is 2. And then this is 3. And this is 4. So this is x left to right. This is y up and down. We're just going to plot these points. So -3, 1. Just watch me point to it. You're going to go -3 for x and then +1 for y and put a point there. It landed in quadrant 2. When we get to the next question, I'm going to start asking you, hey, what quadrant would this be in? All right, -2, 0. So you would go -2 for x, 0 for y. Did that land in a quadrant? No, so we would just say it's on the x-axis. If it doesn't land in a quadrant, you just say which axis it's on. Again, it's written on there, but it's really small. This is x and this is y. All right, 1, 2. So you go 1 for x, 2 for y. That'll be right there. You kind of just need to watch. I don't have a better explanation than here. Look, that's where it is. All right, 3, -4. So you would go 3 for x, -4 for y. And then -3, 5 would be right there. It's like right on the edge. Now don't connect them. It's just like a constellation. You just have those points everywhere. So now we're going to go back, and that was just a lot of recopying. If you were like, hey, that was really repetitive. Yep. Okay, but you have to be able to represent it every way. I know you had your Chromebook open for the bathroom pass, but can you close it? Thank you. So we're going to go back and do our domain and range. So it's a swirly bracket, and then it's an X with a bar. The bar means such that. It's X such that, and then you're going to put X equals, and we're going to list out all the X numbers. I won't mark it wrong if you don't put them in the right order, but let's try to do that since we're going over the notes. Look in your table. What's the smallest X number or the most negative? -3, comma, and then what would be next? -2, good, and then 1, and then 3, good. And then you're going to do the same thing for y. It's a swirly bracket, y with a bar. That means such that, y such that. And we're going to put y equals. So look at your y numbers on the table. What's the smallest one? Like you want to do them smallest to biggest. -4 is the smallest, then comma 0, good, and then 1, 2, 5. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip this second one because it's exactly like this. Oh, I didn't answer, is it a function though? For a function, you're going to look at your x numbers. Do any of them repeat? Yes, so it is not a function. X is not allowed to repeat. If you get x repeating, then it's not a function. So I'm going to skip this one because it's the same as what we just did. I'm just going to go down to the third one. The way that this is a little different is instead of being given the points and doing the other ones, instead you have the graph and you have to go back and do the other ones. So let's go and list out our points first. What is this first point? I'm going to go left to right just to stay organized. So what is this point? Good. -5 for x, -4 for y. So -5, comma, -4. And again, just to stay organized, we're going to go left to right. So what is this? And actually, which quadrant is this next point in? Let's review that. That's quadrant 2. Good. -2, positive. Is it 4? 3. -2, positive 3. Sorry, it is kind of small. All right. How about this next one? Right where I'm pointing. Hey, 0, -3. That's not in a quadrant, but what axis is it on? Is it on the x-axis or the y-axis? Y, good. All right, how about this one? Next point. Oh, whoops, I want to draw on it. Good, 2, -5, perfect. What quadrant is that in? Fourth, good. And then the last one is 4, 2. And what quadrant is that one in? What? The reason I'm bringing up the quadrants is it's on your quiz. What quadrant is the point in? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now for the table, literally copy them over. I'm not going to say them all out loud because that's going to get super annoying, but can y'all just please copy them over? That's literally all we're doing. Just rewrite those numbers there. No one misses that question. Okay, you're just recopying what's there. And then for the mapping, the only thing is you don't want to repeat any numbers. If I don't think any of these, do we see any of them double? I don't think any of them repeat. So actually you're just going to write them all again and draw your arrows. But again, if anything repeats, you don't write the number again. You just draw another arrow to it. That one didn't have anything repeat though. So basically just write out all the numbers. Easy peasy. Like that's all you got to do. And then we'll go back and do our domain range. Is it a function? So domain is x, x equals, and again, I won't mark it wrong, but let's try and put them in order. What's your smallest x number? Or actually, are they in order? Yeah, actually they're in order. So just copy them down. -5, -2, 0, 2, 4. Are you seeing how this is a lot of rewriting? Are you going to write this down with me? Are you going to write any of it down?
It's on the left.
All right, and then range is your y values. Because this is so much just recopying, you need to write it like that. We're not actually doing anything. We're just representing this a bunch of different ways. All right, so what's your smallest y number? Let's try and put these in order because those ones aren't in order. What's the most negative? 5. Good, -5, perfect. And then comma -4, -3, 2, 3. So you just want to try and put them in order. And then is it a function? All you're going to look at is x. Do any of the x's repeat? Nope. So we're good. It is a function. If any of the x's repeat, that's when you have to say no. I'm going to go back and fill this in. If you want to try it and then go back and check your work, when I take the picture and put it on Schoology, it'll be filled in there if you wanted an extra practice. All right. This is cute. Charlie Brown. How do I tell if a graph is a function? You're going to use the vertical line test. What you're going to do is, and you can just slide your pencil along the graph. If a vertical line hits more than once, it's not a function. And that's because you're getting that repetition. So look at this one. Do you see how if I draw a vertical line right here, it hits two of the points?
Yep.
So it is not a function. What do you got? And that's literally, and in your delta math, like half of it is yes or no, is it a function or not? So what do you think about this one? Function or not a function? Good. No matter where you draw a vertical line, it's only going to hit once. It's never going to hit two of the points. Well, look at what I drew here on number one. Do you see how where I draw a vertical line right there, how it's hitting two of the points? So, oh, talking about something different. Okay. So what do you guys think about number three? Yes or no? No. If you draw a vertical line right here, it hits the graph twice. So that is not a function. All right. And then these ones, instead of just like a constellation of points, you actually have like a graph. What do you think about this one? Yes.
Function.
Not a function. If you draw a vertical line here, it's going to hit the graph more than once. So it fails. How about number five? What do you think?
Function.
Yes. No matter where you draw a vertical line, it's only going to hit one time. And then how about number six? Yeah. No matter where you draw a vertical line, you can just slide your pencil across. It's only going to hit one time. So it will be a function. All right, so go ahead and flip over to the other side. And we're gonna just do a little bit more for domain and range. Shh. As this won't take long if you're listening to me. So domain, you're going to scan left to right. Domain is X values, that's your X axis. Left to right is domain. For range, it's going to be down to up. You want to do smaller numbers to bigger numbers. So it's down to up. So left to right is domain, down to up is range. A lot of people, and even we do domain and range up in my pre-calculus classes. It's not an easy thing. It's actually kind of hard. You have to switch gears in your head. One of them's one way and the other one's the other way. So you got to pay attention. Is everybody looking? I appreciate that you were doing more work on the whiteboard back there, but are you with me? Did you write this down? You're on the correct page? Good. Okay. So looking at that first one, do you see how it's a line? I know this looks like it's pointing down, but do you get that it's going to keep going to the left forever and ever? And this is going to keep going to the right forever and ever? Here's how you write it if it's everything, and we call it all reals. It means all real numbers. You have your swirly bracket and the X with the bar. If it's everything, you have an X, and it's this little sideways E, and then a capital R. R means reals, so that's how you write it if it is all reals. That's a very common answer. So that comes up a lot. You're going to write that a lot. And look, for range, does this graph go down forever? Does it go up forever? Yeah, so everything. So you're going to write the exact same thing except with a Y for range. Like it means infinity, like it's everything. And then we're gonna, oh, question? That's a swirly bracket.
Looks like the languages we're learning.
Yeah, math is a language. You're learning a new language. And is it a function, yes or no? Where I draw a vertical line through, will it ever hit twice? Does it pass the vertical line test? Yes, it passes. It's a function. There's no place you can draw a vertical line where it's going to hit more than once. Okay. So looking at this one, it's a U shape. I realize both these arrows look like they're pointing down, but do you get that this is going to keep going left forever and this is going to keep going right forever? Like off the paper and down the hall? So your domain is everything. It's all reals. When people use my kind words only. All right, range. Now watch me point to this because it's not going to be all reals. Do you see how the graph goes down forever? Does it go up forever? No. Okay, what Y value does it stop at? 3? 3. We want everything below 3. So here's what it's going to look like. Y is less than or equal to 3. You want 3 and everything shorter, 3 and below. And again, no matter where you draw a vertical line, it's only going to hit once. So it's a function. Yes. Yes, this one was also a function. Well, what do you think about this one? Is this one a function? No matter where I draw a vertical line, is it only gonna hit once? Yes, so that one's a function. Does it go left forever and right forever? Yes, so your domain is everything, all reals. Now the range for this one's a little bit weird. You only get one number. What's the only number in the range?
4.
-4 is the only number in the range. So you just write y equals -4. That's the only number you get. That's it. It's stuck there at -4. It's what we call constant. It's a constant function. Well, what does the word constant mean? Like in life? Over, yeah, stays the same thing over and over again. All right, this one's the opposite of that. It's a vertical line. So your range is going to be all reals. Do you see how it goes upwards and downwards forever? Your y values up and down goes forever in both directions. But your domain, what's the only number that's in the domain? 2. 2 is the only number in the domain. So you just put x equals 2. It's the only number that you get. Good. Why is this one a no?
Yes. Right.
Yeah, like if you draw a vertical line, it is a vertical line. Like it's going to, a vertical line would hit that line everywhere. Okay. X equals 2.
Tacos day? Taco.
Yeah, less than or equal to 3. You want 3 and everything below. And here, we'll do another one like that so you can see it again. Do you see how this arrow is going to go left forever and this one's going to go right forever?
Yep.
So what is your domain? If it goes left forever and right forever, it would be what? All reals. Good. Everything. Capital R. R for reals. Range, though, is not. There's nothing down here. What y value do you start at? You want -2 and everything above. So it is going to be y is greater than or equal to -2. It starts at -2 and you want everything above that. And is this a function?
Yep.
You can draw a vertical line anywhere you want. It's only going to hit once. So it's a function. I'm going to leave this one because we did ones exactly like it on the other page and I want you to have time for your delta math. So just go ahead and flip over. We'll do the ones on the back. Now these ones we're going to have to type in the calculator ourselves. I need for you to watch. I'm going to share my screen. We'll go to the calculator and I'm going to type in that first one. 3/4 x, oh, whoops, 3/4 x minus 2. Do you see how I just typed that in? What do we get a picture of? But what is it, guys?
The line.
Thank you, a line. All right. Does a line go left to right forever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it go upwards and downwards forever? Yeah. So what are your domain and range?
Forever.
Yep. All reals. And if you just want to write that part, that's fine. If you want to leave off the swirly brackets, that's okay. I just need an X and a Y. Like I need to know that you understand domain is X and range is Y. But it goes forever. Is that going to be the answer for every single line?
Yeah.
Every single line goes left forever, right forever, up forever. Those are the answers if it's a line. If you get a line, it's all reals. All right. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to type in the last one. Can you please continue listening to me?
Yep.
So it's x to the second. What is the rest of it? -4x plus 3. Thank you. It's a U shape. It's going to go left forever and right forever. So what is your domain?
Forever.
Yeah. But we call it all reals. Thank you.
But all starts with A.
It's R for reals.
Yo, where's the all?
All right, let's go back to the graph. Range is not all reals. What y value are we starting at? Here, I'll make it a lot bigger for you.
Negative.
-1. Do you see how that's at -1?
Yeah.
You're all seeing that there? Okay. Do we want everything above or below -1? Or sorry, I closed it. Let me go back. Do you see how it's above -1? Okay. So what are we going to write? Y is what? How would you do above? Greater than or equal to -1. Good.